Hey gang, it's Suraj from the Final Say here. Today's discussion, the teenage triple threat. I go straight into it. 16-year-old Jude Bellingham, Birminghamcity player, was a youth player, broke through to the senior team, age 16, becoming the youngest ever player to play for the senior side. So why the hype? Why the opportunity for Jude Bellingham? Clearly he's shown a lot to his coach or the under coaches and the senior coaches in Birmingham, and it didn't take very long to understand why they're gifting him this opportunity to play in the first team. He has good work rate, decent decision making, decent pace, can dribble, can pretty much play it along the whole of the midfield from what we can see. Slightly deep, good defensively, and he also seems to make his way through and can do some sort of late runs. Not exactly like Lampard, but a touch of that in terms of the way he seems to run or drive onto the ball. With a young player that's so versatile, we know he's talented, but I guess the biggest thing that we can say about Jude Bellingham would be his maturity. So in all due respect, if you want to move from a smaller club to a larger club, the biggest factor will be the pressure, the scrutiny, the having to repay the faith shown in you, but not only that, sort of justify the price tag. Whether you be 18-year-old Wayne Rooney being bought for 30 million, you're always going to be considered a gamble at this age for any of those kind of monies to, that sum of money to be pitched. Jude Bellingham has shown maturity beyond his age. With all the hype and being linked to Chelsea, Man United and those types of teams, he seems to have taken it all in his stride. And when you're looking at young talent, I guess the main thing you're ever looking at is there are plenty of talented players and there are plenty of young talented players. But there are only some talented young players that have that maturity or football IQ and great decision making so early on. So when you see a player like that, although it is a gamble to want to invest in a player at that age to see what he could or couldn't become, the fact of the matter is he's ready to mature. He's already showing the mental side of the game, which is actually worth a whole lot more than just ability on its own. Moving on, 17-year-old Eduardo Camavinga. So this one is a very exciting talent, just like Jude. Born in Angola, 2002, moved to France, age 2, joined Rennes Youth Academy, aged 11. Once again, broke through to the senior team, age 16. So he signed his professional contract, age 16 for Rennes. Became the youngest player, also aged 16, to feature for Rennes. So that's another similarity there between him and Jude. Breaking through into the first team and doing it at the youngest age possible, both holding a record for doing that for their respective clubs. What's the hype behind Camavinga? Again, why the opportunity? So he would have shown something that we wouldn't have been privy to prior to him playing, but once we saw a few of his games, and notably his 9th game, I think an impression was definitely made. So in his 9th game, he played against a certain team called PSG. Now, we all know PSG, we know they're European elite. It doesn't matter what kind of side they put out, it is still always going to be a very good side. He actually got a man of the match performance, got an assist, and dictated the game pretty much for Rennes in the middle of the park. So that is the hype behind him. That is why everyone has taken notice of this 17-year-old now. If I was to liken him with a particular player, or in this case, I would say particular players, he strikes me as he has a touch of Blaise Matuidi about him. He has a little bit of a Kante about him. He has, dare I say, a touch of the Vieira about him. Maybe I'm just getting a little bit too excited, but he is an excitable player to watch. And once again, when you're liking to those types of players and you have those types of performances and you play this well, again, maturity comes into it. So when we discuss his attributes, we're looking at work rate, dictating the pace of the game, being able to play short passes, a bit of range, bit of movement, bit of drive, decision making, maturity, playing against top level opposition and still coming out with your name being mentioned above theirs when really you're relatively unknown. I can only imagine what Camavinga's future holds for him and how far he can go and what potential he has. Moving on, we'll go to next on our list, 18-year-old Takefusa Kubo, aka the Japanese Messi. So this is a player that trained with the famed La Masia Academy, Barcelona's. Aged 10 to 14, he played alongside Ansu Fati, who's another teenager star in the making that's currently playing bits and pieces for Barcelona, Barcelona's first team. So Kubo, aged 10 to 14, trained at Barca. However, Barca fell foul of an international transfer policy for under 18s, FIFA policy, and they were found to have violated the terms. Any players involved that had violated those terms were now ineligible to play for Barcelona. Kubo was one of those players. He decided to go and join FC Tokyo in the J League. So yet again, that is another player that's made a breakthrough from the youth squad and made the transition to the senior team at a very tender age and at a record-breaking age for that particular club and that player. So Kubo continued to play. He strayed in the J League. In 2019, he had his best season, a few goals, a few assists. I think it was 5 goals, 4 assists, something along those lines. And under the noses of the rest of Europe's elite, Real Madrid struck. So I think there was talk of him potentially going back to Barcelona. They got the timing wrong with when his contract was up. It seems that Real Madrid wasted no time before PSG could get involved. Kubo was signed to Real Madrid for 5 years. He was loaned out to Mallorca, and he's had his first season, his first season at Mallorca. It may be a little while before we actually see him playing for Real Madrid, potentially, having first team stints. He is still young, and in Real Madrid, as you know, they're practically Galacticos half the time, so they have phenomenal players playing in those positions. So competition is always very, very strict and very direct, and it is a tough environment. However, Kubo is on loan as part of a system that Real Madrid have, where they've got quite a few youngsters out and about, all in the hopes of developing them into something more. So as Kubo continues his journey, maybe one match you could look out for would be the game that he had with Barcelona, whereby Mallorca lost 5-2 to a Lionel Messi hat-trick. But interestingly, in that game, Kubo has a little drive, and if you watch out for it, he has a cheeky little nutmeg of Lionel Messi. So I think big things for all 3 of our players, and that's our teenage triple threat. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. Thank you.